Shannon, are you buying this was management's fault?
No, I'm not buying it, Skip. Because what they're doing is that they're focusing on the handling of it and not focusing on the incident and what got them to the point. I don't get what was going to change? Skip, I believe had KD been healthy, they still would have won the title. So it wasn't like this incident caused them not to win the title, or it drove a wedge between them that it became intolerable, an untenable situation.
Yep.
That's not what happened. Whatever happened to personal responsibility, personal accountability? Draymond, you said something that you shouldn't have said. Okay, I get it. You want to go apologize to KD? What Bob Myers and Steve Kerr tried to do is to let KD know we got your back. That we're not going to just let this slide up under the rug because Draymond has been here. He's one of the staples of this organization. But we're not going to let this slide. We are going to punish him. They mentioned the incident, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, they said when Scottie Pippen wouldn't go in the game, KD said when Scottie wouldn't go in the game, everybody came. So what?
In the locker room.
In the locker room, I was going to say, Scottie, that was effed up.
Yeah,
that was messed up.
Yes.
Okay, so if Steph and Clay and everybody comes and say, Draymond, you should have done that. What does Bob Myers and Steve Kerr have to do with that? Phil didn't say anything. When Jordan hit Steve Kerr in the eye, they didn't address it as a team. Jordan called Steve and said, Steve, my bad.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I let my emotions get the best of me, bro. And guess what? In a championship moment, he passed the ball to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr hit the shot. So I'm trying to skip out, and I went back and listened to it again. I believe at the start of the season, Kevin Durant had made his mind up, 99%, I'm leaving. I believe the 0.5 or the 1% that was left solidified it. But it seemed to me, and listen to KD talk, KD's like, well, I needed a new challenge. I needed to move on. I don't believe had Bob Myers and Steve Kerr addressed this as a team, say, guys, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this in front of the team. Me, I started playing organized sports, Skip, in 1977 and played until 2003. And you know there's a lot of testosterone that goes in the locker room. I've seen a lot of fights, high school, college, and the pros. I don't recall us ever addressing a fight as a team. I don't remember now. It could have slipped my memory. Guys, we get, whomever the fight's between, bro, how we make this, because, we got to move forward. I just don't understand how they think Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. So what was it going to change? If they address it as a team, is KD staying? If they address it as a team, are they going to win the title? You didn't win the title because KD got hurt. That argument didn't have anything with you not winning the title, Skip. It did not drive a wedge. I'm glad to see, Skip, it seems to me they put this behind them. Sometimes things like this happen, and it's never, ever the same.
You got that right.
So for them to move past a special inocument, sometimes we hold on to things.
Yep.
And I'm a firm believer, Skip, you can let things come between. They seem to be with friends before. And don't let an incident like this drive a wedge between you, that you were great friends and somebody in the heat of a moment said something. But I'm going to disagree in this situation. I do not believe the handling of this caused anything. KD wasn't going to stay if they had handled it better, because the incident happened. That's on Draymond. You let your emotions get the best of you because KD was clapping about passing the ball, and you like, bro, I done bought the ball up in championship games before. This is a regular season game. I'm going to give you the ball. Just get your ass up the court. And KD like, okay, bro, that's how you feel about me? But Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, there was nothing they could have done that was going to change the outcome. He was leaving after the season, with or without addressing this as a team.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. I agree with every point you just made, and now I'm going to amplify because I agree times 100. I begin with the scene from one of my favorite all-time movies, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, in which Catherine Hahn's character stops and takes a look at Ron and the guys and says, children, grow up. This, for me, was a children grow up moment, because it was fascinating to me that all of a sudden we had two guys who for a while wanted to kill each other face to face on Draymond's new show. And to Draymond's credit, he broached the toughest subject possible, the most awkward subject of all, face to face without a moderator, There's no Jenny there.
Right.
There's nobody to referee.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's one-on-one, face-to-face, and he broaches the subject.
Right.
Was that a reason? The idea was, did that hasten your exit from Golden State?
Correct.
What happened between us? And Kevin is on a hot seat because the truth is it was a reason that hastened his exit.
Right.
And he did not refute that point.
Right.
But all of a sudden, his mind is working quickly. How can we get out of this? Because I've reunited with my bro here. You know, we're now besties,
we good,
right? I don't know how they got through it, but they did.
Right.
And he's thinking, how can we do this? And all of a sudden, they blame the adults. They blame the coach. They blame the general manager. That's how we can get out from under this. Let's both blame the adults.
Right.
And it was childish to me because they talked all around the point. Because the point was, just to reiterate what you talked about, this was a regular season game at Clippers.
Yes.
And Kevin is, as you said, he just wants the ball. After Draymond gets the rebound,
Right.
he's clapping because
Right.
he's got a hot hand.
Right.
And he wants to take the ball because
He wants
he's
to
got
bring
to
it up.
play.
Right.
He has a play that he
Right.
wants to run. And Draymond gives him one of these like, who the hell are you?
Right.
Well, you pointed out originally Draymond was the guy who, after your Cavaliers came from 3-1 down to beat them, fled into the parking lot with tears in his eyes and picked up his cell phone and called one Kevin Durant, you've got to come save us.
Correct.
Right? So that situation escalates until the two of them are sitting next to each other on the bench. One thing leads to another, and Draymond Green calls Kevin Durant the B word.
Right.
The B word. He once upon a time called LeBron the B word in the heat of battle out
Right.
on the court.
Correct.
But this is sitting on the bench.
Right. At least, Skip, LeBron is an opponent.
He's an opponent. It's really heat of battle.
Right,
Like this
right.
is happening out. And remember, then they got into it, and Draymond sort of kicked him in the groin. It
Right,
was completely
right,
over the edge,
right.
out of control.
KD and Dre is teammates.
They're teammates, and they're sitting next to each other on the bench. And he
Right.
says, you know what? You're a B.
Always have been.
Always have been. Okay, just in my world, given my temperament, that's a bridge burned for me. I don't think I could ever come back from that. I mean, maybe if somebody came to me and we sat and talked it all through,
Yeah.
but even then, I would never trust that person again because it's hard for me to trust. I don't trust easily or quickly.
But you're not going to blame. You're not going to blame the company that you
I
work
will
for
not.
their handling.
I will
the
not.
The company didn't say it. He said it.
He did it, he started it, and he would not apologize for it because Draymond was adamant about they flew back and took him to the facility and sat him down, and I assume it was Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, maybe other staff joined in.
Probably somebody from HR.
Maybe.
Because he was saying something about Hazel. Hazel, I mean, I don't think that's his fiancée. I think it's his wife now.
Yeah.
I don't think she was waiting for an hour and a half. He said they was waiting for like an hour and a half.
In the parking lot, I assume, to take him home.
Right, so I guess...
I don't know,
Yeah.
but they were encouraging him to apologize face-to-face to Kevin, and he said, no way. Okay, go home and sleep on it, and let's reconvene in the morning and try it again.
Right.
And they tried it again in the morning, and he said, absolutely no way am I going to apologize.
Right.
Well, he's telling this story to the guy he offended, sitting face-to-face with him on his new show.
Correct.
Well, deep down, you think Kevin loved that? Because Kevin can't love that. You wouldn't even acknowledge that you did this.
That you were wrong.
Right. You wouldn't even talk it out with me.
Right.
Well, that's Draymond's fault.
Right.
And Draymond's at the controls on his new show, and somehow they managed to blame the adults. They blame Steve Kerr. And even Kevin just goes off on Steve Kerr, and then, to your point, he references The Last Dance. I remember watching The Last Dance when Scottie didn't go into the game, and the whole team in the locker room said, Scottie, that was effed up that you didn't do that. We needed that. We just needed to throw all that SH out on the table and say, yo, Dre, yo, K, that was effed up that we even had to go through that.
Well, hold on. You didn't take that up with Steph. You didn't take that up with Clay. You didn't take that up with the teammates. The teammates came in to do. Jerry Krause and Jared Reinsdorf didn't do that. That was the teammates that came in there one by one and said, hey, Scottie, you let... Bill Cartwright in his raspy voice, Scottie, you let us down. Scottie, you the leader. We're counting on you.
Good point.
Right.
Where was Steph?
Yeah,
he would be the leader of the team,
correct.
right? Yeah.
So you blame Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. Well, if you look at The Last Dance, it wasn't the general manager, Jerry Krause, didn't come in there and say, well, Scottie, what the hell going on? What'd you do? That's not what happened.
So now Draymond is contending that he's telling Steve Kerr and Bob Myers after they push for him to apologize, and he says, y'all about to F this up. No, you are.
You did it.
You did it. You said, we didn't say it. We're trying to talk you down from it. We're trying to talk you into a place where you can just sit down with him and at least talk it out.
Right.
Right?
Okay. He said, well, I don't want them to tell me what I should say. Okay, Draymond, we're going to give you. We need you to talk to Kevin Durant. We need you to talk to KD. They call him KD. We need you to talk to KD. And at some point in time, we're going to have to reconvene. You, KD, and Bob and Steve, and see if we can put this past. What I needed him to ask, because Draymond even said it. He said it looked like you were already checked out. It looked like you were already like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's not like KD's like, man, I was just locked into my work because I really wanted to three-peat. That hadn't been done very often. So it seemed to me, it just seemed to me, KD had his mind made up. 99%, I'm bouncing.
Okay.
And then this was the 1% thing. Said, you know what?
I agree. I give it more than 1%, but I believe it was a reason that hastened the exit.
Right.
And remember, he had issues with Steph's popularity that he could never even rival it or touch it.
Correct.
And you made the point. Give it up, man, because
it's okay.
He was homegrown, you know, like the fans grew up with him. They watched him grow up, and they're never going to give that up. You're never going to supersede him in their eyes.
But you got to understand that, Skip. LeBron was never going to be more popular than D-Wade in Miami.
No.
It's Wade County.
All right.
He's homegrown. You came from the outside, even though you were the better player.
Yep.
I don't think you'll get any pushback, even from D-Wade, that says LeBron was a better player than I was.
No.
But he wasn't more popular in Miami than D-Wade.
No,
Kevin Durant was never going to be more popular than Steph in the Bay. You were the better player, KD. Nobody's going to ever debate that.
So here's my favorite line from Draymond yesterday as he recounts what he was saying to Steve Kerr and Bob Myers. He says, I told them the only person that can make this right, this right, and I'm going ... And I thought he was going to say, is me.
Right.
And he said, is, and he went from singular to plural. The only person is singular, right? That's just one. And he goes plural because he says, the only person that can make this right is me and K. Me and K, well, that's two people.
Yeah.
No, it's you.
Well, so how does K make it right? K make it right by forgiving you for calling him out of his name in the heat of the moment. That's what K can do. All the owners should have been on you, Dre. First of all, Dre, you should have been at the back of the plane. The plane should have never landed without you having a conversation with Kevin Durant.
I would agree, because that's where you do it.
Just go ahead. K, bro, my bad. I was wrong. I'm dead wrong.
You know what? Even if you can't make those words come out of your mouth, if you can go engage in a discussion, usually you can sort of work through it a little bit. This is why I did this, and this is why I did this, and I overreacted there.
Correct, yes.
I shouldn't have done that. You don't have to maybe say, I'm sorry, if you can't say that.
Yeah, you got to say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Man, bro, my bad, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying he's so proud. I don't know if he's capable, but even if you talk through it, you might get home. You might be able to calm it down where you can go forward. Right.
Well, Skip, you got to say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's a must.
When you go B-word to a teammate, that's I apologize.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like I said, in football is different. I've never been in an NBA locker room. But you call somebody like that, you're going to have to fight them, Skip. And then, Mike might address it, says, guys, Mike or whomever the head coach at the time might have been, says, guys, we can't have that. But it ain't no sit down and talk about, okay, guys, how do we move forward?
Yeah, the football mentality is slightly different. It's slightly more testosterone to me. Where, to your point, we're going to take this outside. Or
outside?
Or maybe right there. Just right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Like I said, Skip, in college, I've seen two guys almost kill each other.
Okay. I don't doubt
Skip, it wasn't no Coach Davis and hell of this and all that. They worked it out. They got along.
Okay, the bottom line to this, somehow, some way, these two did work it out.
Right.
I don't know how.
But how did they work it out between themselves and then turn around and pin the blame on Steve Kerr and Bob Myers? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I wanted to hear one or the other say, we've talked this thing out.
Right.
Even as Olympic teammates, we talked it out.
Yes.
Or somehow, some way, we worked it out.
Right.
But we didn't get that. And then there are other subjects that got broached, like Kevin Durant's burner accounts.
Right.
I've called him the thinnest-skinned superstar I've ever closely observed.
Right.
And Draymond immediately let him off the hook about his burner accounts by saying, you know what I love about your burner accounts? You say a lot of the same stuff on your regular account. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Right. That might be. So how do we know he don't have more burner accounts that said he said even more? Yeah, he'll snap back at somebody.
Yep.
I'm waiting on him to go back at Evan Fournier. That's what I'm really waiting for him to go back at. He maybe hadn't gotten around to doing that, Skip. But no, the mere fact that you got a burner account lets you know you want to say things in secrecy that you don't want attached to you.
Okay.
And Skip, sometimes what happens is that when you really get upset, remember the three people to tell you the truth are drunks, kids, and angry people. Draymond was angry that KD was clapping at him to give him the ball like he was a bum. Bro, I ain't just come in to try to close the game, bro. I've been in. I'm here.
Okay.
Well, KD is thinking like, hold on, bro. You angry. That's how you really feel about me?
And remember, this is the guy who begged him to come, right?
You said all these things like, bro, you the best and you better than Bron and yada, yada, whatever he might have said to get him there.
Yep.
In the heat of the moment, I'm upset. What?
And then Draymond admitted, ever since you left, we've been getting our ass kicked. And they have.
Yes.
Okay.
But Skip, a lot of that has to do with Steph. Remember, Steph got the first year after KD left, Steph breaks his wrist and basically missed the whole year. Okay, Clay was supposed to come back and he tears what? His Achilles.
Yep.
After he tore his ACL. So I believe if those guys stay healthy, because we saw what Steph is capable of doing, if Clay can stay healthy. But the question is, Skip, is that when you listen to KD says, I was just locked in with his work, and people thought because I wasn't happy-go-lucky guy anymore. So you weren't locked in the first year? You weren't locked in the second year? What changed? The change is that you was gearing up to leave. That's what it was. Because he said he likes challenges. He said, it wasn't a challenge anymore at OKC. I think the thing was that you saw that you weren't going to be able to win no championship at OKC, and you says, okay, let me leave. We're going to discuss him saying that he would do it all over again a little later, Skip. But I just don't get how how I do something and then I blame Fox for why. Man, how y'all let that happen between me and Skip? Y'all, you and I get into an argument, Skip, and we blame Fox. Man, Fox, Fox handled it wrong.
Yep.
No, we handled it wrong because we the one that got into the argument.
No.
I'm confused, Skip.
So what I loved the most was there's a little outtake from Kevin at the end of the video that I watched.
Right.
And it breaks for a second after Draymond says, that's a wrap.
Right.
And there's a break, and Kevin looks to the camera and says, this is going to be an incredible interview. This is going to go crazy.
Right.
So he was very pleased with the way it went.
Right.
Because Draymond let him off the hook.
Right.
And they managed to blame management for their issues that started by Draymond.
Right.
Okay.
So, like I said, I just don't. I don't like the fact I'm a big into personal responsibility, personal accountability, and you can't have peace without forgiveness. So I'm glad it seems to be, Skip, they're at peace. Draymond, I don't know why Draymond would forgive KD, because KD didn't do anything to Draymond, but it seems to me that KD has definitely forgiven Draymond and has moved on. You see the way they were interacting at the Olympics. You see the way they've interacted since.
I mean, seriously, best friends.
Yeah. So, but they need to. They can miss me. They can miss me with this. This has nothing to do with Steve Kerr. This has nothing to do with Bob Myers. It was two guys in the heat of the moment. One guy said something to the other guy that was highly offensive that most men, especially in professional sports, is going to receive it just like KD, just like Draymond threw it out to KD. That's how they're going to look at him and look at him sideways. But like I said, I don't know. They don't tussle like that in the NBA. I guarantee you ain't calling the guy in the locker room that I came up out of.
The NFL.
Yeah. You ain't calling the guy that and talk about, oh, we gonna be friends tomorrow. We might be friends, but you're gonna have to knuckle it up first, though. That's just the way it works.
I don't think they knuckled it up.
No, I'm sure they didn't.
Yeah.
But like I said, Skip, I mean, I've seen two guys on offense fight. I've seen two guys on defense fight. They're in the same huddle. You go play. Hey, you got an issue? You resolve the issue?
Yep.
You try to de-escalate it before it get to that point, Skip. You could, I've been around enough locker room. I'm like, okay, somebody getting serious. Hey, come on, guy, man. Let that go, man. We joke all the time, man. It's just jokes. But sometimes, Skip, even the great Shaq, hey, Shea couldn't even calm him down. Okay, it is what it is. Come on, let's break these guys up.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.